Hello and welcome to the NOS 110 Project 1 presentation. My name is Nicholson. Some of you may know me as that bearded foreign guy who sits at the front. Today I want to talk to you about Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. We will cover some of its new features, both good and bad, and work out if it is a good idea to finally upgrade from Windows 7 or XP if you're really old school. So, Windows 8 is part of the Windows NT family and replaces Windows 7, and for some users out there still hanging on, Windows XP. First of all, I must say I love Windows XP and its replacement Windows 7. I stayed with XP for far too long before going to Windows 7, and I've only actually got onto Windows 8 because I bought a new laptop of which it was pre-installed. Support for XP has now finished, and although Windows 7 will be supported until 2020, maybe it's time for you all to upgrade. Windows 8 was launched officially back in 2012 to very mixed reviews. It certainly had a lot of good points, which we will cover in a moment, but it also caused a lot of complaints amongst traditional power users. The main complaint, to be fair, was about the level of change in the UI from previous versions of Windows. But, oddly, in the world of IT, which is about constant change, not all humans can cope with that fact. The main complaints were about the user interface and the changes from traditional Windows, i.e. no start button, stupid tile design, and apps. What were these alien concepts about? Obviously the operating system had been designed for touchscreen users, but what about us old school mouse and keyboard dinosaurs? But, although the UI obviously annoyed some users, the system did have a lot of good points. Better performance and quicker boot times than previous versions of Windows. The new Windows Explorer, renamed File Explorer for Windows 8. A brand new fully featured task manager, which we will look at in a moment in more detail. A simplified reset and refresh system, and better security built in, antivirus, etc. And a great file history system, if that's your cup of tea. So, Windows 8.1, Windows 8 features a new task manager, which has a number of interesting features to give the user feedback on the system. These include a performance tab, which shows the performance of the CPU, memory, hard disks, Wi-Fi and the Ethernet. It also shows information on cache sizes, cores, sockets and number of logical processors. The Process tab gives more detailed information on system usage. You can also check and manage app history, startup programs, users and services from within the task manager. So, in October 2013, Microsoft proved that it does actually listen to the feedback of its users and issued an update called Windows 8.1. This was no mere service pack. This was a complete, real standalone update. They made a lot of changes, but some of the best updates, I think, were the start button. Yes, they brought it back. A boot to desktop feature, a function called Search Heroes, multiple window options, and a new Microsoft Windows Store. So, they brought back the start button. Sort of. Not exactly the start button of old, but better than none at all. And for old dinosaurs like me, you can always just download a classic shell, like the one on the right that I use. The other nice change was the boot to desktop checkbox, which you can see on the picture on the left. Just so us old school people don't have to deal with those bloody tiles. One of the features about Windows 8.1 I really like is this new search heroes. For example, pull up the search tab, type in Durham, and it brings up loads of great info on the subject, such as maps, weather, places to visit, events, and even a list of files on your PC with Durham in the folder name or the file name. I also strangely like the new App Store. I say strangely because I was a bit sceptical at first about a Microsoft Store, and mainly because I also like free software. But after looking through it, there's some great free apps and software in there. Just as an example, two of the apps I really like are Skype and a free game called Asphalt 8 Racing. For those of you out there who don't know, Skype is a free call, messaging and video messaging service. And as an international student, it is a great way for me to keep in touch with my friends and family back in the UK. No more just talking to them on a broken phone line. I can actually see their faces, talk to them as though I'm actually in the room with them. It's also a constant source of amusement when talking to my technophobe parents. I either end up talking to them with their shoulder, or my dad spends most of his time staring at his own image in the small video screen at the bottom instead of looking into the camera. But hey-oh, it's a nice way to keep in touch. I don't have a lot of time nowadays to game. Every now and again I like to play Asphalt 8, a free racing game which is easy and a fun way to wind down. It's got multiple tracks, multiple cars and multiple customization. And it's easy because I'm not the greatest driving game user. So to conclude the presentation, although I started off as a hater of Windows 8, with the upgrade to Windows 8.1 I have finally accepted it. After all, in the IT world, change is the one constant that we can rely on. Thank you.